Knowing this near universal pattern helps to assess new brands and existing ones.
What don't marketers know?
Quite a lot. Marketers largely live in an anything-goes world where the latest fashion or fad drives an awful lot of practice.
Segmentation is the recognition you can't serve everyone with equal satisfaction.
This is the Zac Anesbury Show.
Welcome. On today's podcast clip, we have Associate Professor Müller from Northwest University, South Africa.
I like to have really deep conversations with staff and ask them interesting questions. And I think last year, one of the questions I asked them were, what's the one thing that you wish you could tell yourself at the beginning of your career? And it was interesting to say, let's say 90% of them said, really realize how important research is, or to focus more on research earlier in your career.
Do they elaborate on because it's a momentum game, or publications take forever, right? You come up with an idea and maybe in 3 years' time you get an acceptance.
Exactly that. And as you move up in the ranks, you realize how important the research portfolio is. And that's not something you can start building overnight.
So that's, I'm always going on adjacent questions, but so when you're assessing the quality of publications within your university, we in Australia, we differ on the list that we use, but there's a blanket list that's called the Australian Business Deans Council list, and it gets updated every 3 years. So the next one's due at the end of this year in November, December, and it will be called the ABDC 2025, which is weird because it's released in November. It's usually released around ANZMAC time, and we have C, B, A, and A stars. And usually, if we publish in A star or A level journals, we're all good. Do you have a rankings list, or what rankings list do you tend to focus on?
We've got something similar in South Africa called the DHET list.
DHET.
Department of Higher Education. So that list includes lists like Web of Science, the Norwegian list, and then certain journals from which the South African department also identified local journals.
Yeah.
They do not look at the different tiers like Q1, Q2, Q3. As long as you publish on that list, it's sufficient for the universities.
Is this a publicly available list?
Yes, and it gets updated every year.
Okay, I might have a quick look at that because I'm across the Chartered Business Association list, the one that the British use, because I tend to write and co-author with some of them. Their list is quite restrictive, actually. That it makes it harder to write with them because they're only aiming for like these real top journals. But yeah, I'll have a look at that because I find that quite fascinating. Figuring out how everyone else has to operate it really is quite fascinating. So thank you for sharing that.
I'm trying to really push the Q2 and Q1. But if you do publish in a Q3 or Q4, the university is not going to pay for the publication fees. And if they do pay, you really need to write a motivation as to why you didn't publish in Q1 or Q2.
So that's to make it open access?
Yes.
Do you get rewarded for publications in any way?
Yes, we do.
Is it cash money, or is it PD funds, like professional development funds? Or
we've got something in the institution called IRECO funds. So you get rewarded for publications 2 years. Like this year, we got rewarded for publication from 2022. And that money goes into a certain account, and then you can use that account to advance your research or to go to a conference. You can take, I think, 50% of that money out, but you do get taxed on that as well.
Yeah, that's the harsh thing, right? If you were to be paid in cash, it kind of almost has a detrimental effect because while you can use it for personal expenses like paying off your mortgage or your rent or whatever, you will get taxed on it. So
do you have a similar system?
Yeah, very much. So it's called Research Incentive Scheme, I think that it's called at the moment. And it's capped at 20,000 Australian dollars. And you get, I can't remember, if you get one of the A-star journals, I think it's $4,500. But it's divided by the number of authors within your institution. So if I have 4 authors, then I get $1,125 or something like that.
Okay.
So it's good and bad because they want you to collaborate, but it's a disincentive to collaborate. But I guess it's an incentive to collaborate externally. Yeah, but yeah, it works out okay.
Okay.
We're having at the moment. So yeah, we use it to go to ANSMAC so I can meet wonderful people like you and share my research with people. That's kind of what I primarily use it for. But otherwise, some other people use it for data collection. What else have people used it for?
We've also
that's
moved
the big one,
into
right?
using a lot of it for data collection. Yeah. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi everyone, Zac here again, and just a few quick reminders before you go. If you're listening to the podcast and are considering incorporating it into your secondary school or university courses, then please let me know and I can guide you through the process. If you're enjoying the show and getting some insights from it, then please leave me a 5-star review on your podcast listening platform. It would go a long way to spreading the word. If you know someone who would benefit from this content, then I would be thrilled if you could consider sharing this episode and its knowledge with them. And finally, thank you for becoming part of the community for this show.